at the moment on our contact page, we have a header and a footer, but what we want to have as well is a web form, which will look a little something like this. And let's see how we can do that. So to begin with, we'll go to our contacts.html code, and in between the header and the footer, we'll just make some space to begin with. And then what we want to have is a form element. And instead of action, I'm going to have an ID, and I'm going to make that contact form. And I'm going to have a method, post. And I'll make some space in the form. And now we're going to have a series of inputs with labels. So I'm going to have an input. And I'm going to give that an ID. And that's going to be fname for first name. And I'm going to specify an autocomplete. And that's going to be given name. As well as the input, I'm going to have a label for the input. And back on the input itself, I also want to have a name. And the name will be the same as the ID. Name, fname. So the name attribute is what the form posts back to the server. So when we have the ID fname, that's what CSS uses to identify the element. But when we have name fname, that's the attribute that a function attached to the form will use to gather information that's inside the form and post it back to a server. This could be something like a cloud function or some server-side code, which we're not going to do in this class, but that's how it would be done though. You can attach it later on. And we want to display some text as the label. And for that, it'll be first name. And as well as the first name, we're going to have a last name, an email, a mobile, and a text area for a message. So I'm going to copy and paste some of that code in. Just to speed this video up a little bit. And there we've got a last name, an email, a mobile, and I've got a message label. And for the message, instead of an input element, I'm going to have a text area element. So this is like a bigger, let's have a look. So the inputs are sort of one-liners, whereas the text area, we can have like a box for text. And in between the opening and closing text area tags, we can have some default text which populates that box to begin with if we want to do that. Now, finally, I want to have some buttons. So I'm going to have a submit button, and I can display the word submit on the button. And I'm going to have another button, and that's going to be a reset button to clear the form. And we can see how that's looking on the web page now. And at the moment, it looks pretty ugly, but we can tidy that up shortly.